Hello and welcome to the Silver Lining, the weekly geekly talk show where we discuss any number of topics that may have come up during the week. I'm your host, Uncle Silver, aka Silver Greg, aka Greg, whatever you're comfortable calling me. And welcome to you, my co-host, the chat. Always a terrific time having you here in these stressful times. It's hard to not start every week's episode with this reminder that things are just insane right now, and they're getting worse. It unfortunately it feels like they're getting worse. I wish COVID was still the worst thing happening right now. It's a sad, unfortunate truth, but the reality is it's just rough. It's rough. It's rough out there, and I'll be honest with you. Real talk. It's rough in here. It's difficult to wake up, and I am typically to my detriment, and it is my biggest flaw. I am very typically an undriven person, so it would be a lie for me to say that I'm unmotivated because of all of this. Like, I'm always kind of like that. Like I said, it is my biggest flaw. But there is a sensation of, like, you just can't win. You know what I mean? It's like treading water in the middle of the ocean. Like, no matter how much you struggle, it just feels like, God, it's not gonna get easier. But that's not, and I know that's not true. And that's the thing. Like, I've been through a lot in my life, enough to know that this doesn't last forever. The pain and the frustration and the anger and the confusion and the sadness and the depression and all that stuff, it doesn't last forever. Our lives are tides. They come in and they go out. The good comes in, the good goes out. The bad comes in, the bad goes out. And that's probably the most important thing. That's probably the biggest piece of advice I can give to anybody trying to wade through or tread through the waters of this mayhem, is that it doesn't last forever. So do the best you can. Try and have as much fun as possible. One of my biggest mottos lately, not mottos, I would say, is just that try to enjoy your life as best you can, because you don't know what's going to happen. The one line that I have been saying for a little while now is that life is going to do whatever the hell it wants to do. So the best thing you can do is to try and enjoy yourself. And actually, that's the second best thing you can do. The best thing you can do is to stop here at our streams, where we will do our best. We acknowledge that the world is pretty awful right now, but we do our best to get you to not think about it and to have a good time for an hour or two or three or seven, like we streamed the other day. Dragoon Aqua Sakura, what's going on? I probably should have put a notification up on Twitter that I was going live. I know that John just canceled his stream, so because of some stuff that we're going through. Not we personally, just family stuff. But nothing catastrophic. So I know what's going on, but it's nothing catastrophic, nothing to be super concerned with. Just the standard family drama. But it puts when you're in a bad sort of mindset, it puts a damper on the stream. It's harder to make an entertaining stream when you've got this these crises looming over your head. So it's just something to deal with. But hello, Dragoon Aqua, Neon Mole. Hello, Greg and chat. I thought I'd drop by a bit. I'm currently playing Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, which I should probably do since I have never played that game ever. Like, I've never played a second of those games. And on my birthday, no less. And happy birthday, Aqua Sakura. I'm so glad this game came out on my birthday. I hope you've been doing well. Doing all right. GameStop shipped my Xenoblade, so while I wait the days for it to arrive, I'm playing Bug Fables. Great game. One of my mottos is C'est la vie. C'est la vie is what is it? That's life. Is that what C'est la vie is? Since I made a Discord account, how does it work? If you're in the Discord, I'm talking about our Discord. If you're in our Discord, you just join. Here, I'll push the Discord button for you. Hold on a second here. There we go. You follow that link, and that'll take you to the Discord page. Yeah, that's life. That's life. Fearless Fighter, Brandon, Soda, what's going on? John Poncho, Nightbot, how are you, Nightbot? Yeah, that's life. Was this sounds like a word I use in a song by Dixie Chicks. Say la vie, say la vie. No notification for subscribing. Yeah, I know. Rocky, I forgot to put up a notification on Twitter. So I apologize for that. I kind of went. Such is life. Such is life. Well, no, hold on, because it's okay. So which one is spelled right? Because it's not. I've never seen it as SE space LA. I've seen it as the CES apostrophe T, which is what, or C apostrophe EST, which is what Soda put out. I always thought that was what it was. Est la vie. Yeah, I'm assuming the link doesn't work on mobile. It might. Soul, I would give it a shot. I don't know if the link comes up for you or not. You give it a shot. It'll probably take you to the website, like the actual full desktop page. I'm not some witch, I promise. I just guessed. I don't do spelling. Rocky Bear in the hunt with the Twitch Prime sub. Thank you so much, Rocky Bear. Very much appreciate that. But it does mean such is life. Yeah, such is life. Such is life. Oh, they sung a song titled "C'est la vie." Yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is. Yeah, it's say la vie. I remember I had somebody on Facebook who, I guess that was her name, or like not her name, but like that's what she chose as her name on Facebook. So I would see her post pop up all the time, and then it was like "C'est la vie," so such is life, and then it would be some weird post, and it's like that's not life. What a misleading caption. And it's like, oh, it's not the caption, it's just the person's name. But hello everybody. Hopefully everybody is doing as okay as they can be. It has been a pretty brutal week. It has also been a slow news week. I in my opinion, I feel like it's been a slow news week for stuff that I would want to talk about. The only thing I wanted to talk about was the Sega thing. Was there like I got my Game Boy Color link cable. Oh boy. Way to go backwards. You know what life is? You know what is life? Chipotle. Later, Aqua. Have a good one. Thank you for stopping in. I forgot what I was going to say. But yeah, so I hopefully everybody's having an okay time. That there just wasn't anything to talk about. There was was there some sort of indie direct type thing? Not a direct because it's not Nintendo, but was there some sort of game presentation that was earlier this week? I remember like I saw people talking about it online for like 5 seconds, and then there was just immediately nothing. And I'm like, oh, that might be something interesting to talk about. And then I couldn't even find information on it. Was it called Wholesome Direct? Is that what it was? Hold on, let me see here. Was it Wholesome Direct? Hang on a second. Wholesome Direct? Wholesome Direct is a feel-good showcase. Okay, so no, this was it. Yeah, it was all indie games. I'm sorry, by the way. I'm like sweating ridiculously because I didn't do my hair, and my hair is down, and when my hair is down, it's really hot. It's also kind of hot in here. I'm not going to take off all my clothes. It's annoying. It's annoying is even though you downloaded the app, the link doesn't take you to the app. Well, the link was made on the computer, so the link is supposed to take you, I think, to some sort of, not like the main page of Discord. It's supposed to take you to some sort of like acceptance page or something. Yeah, Wholesome Direct. Amazon also apparently has 4 unannounced Switch game listings, which I keep hearing. Dragon, I'm hearing different things about. I know that there was a question last week, I think, where people were saying that one of them was Metroid Prime 4. Supposedly it was leaked. Not Metroid Prime 4, Metroid Prime Trilogy. I don't usually cover things like rumors here, just because I'll cover the rumor and it'll change the second the show ends. 7:01 they'll announce, oh, it's not this. And I'm like, okay, well, fantastic. Now I can't really upload that part.
Your ideas are intriguing to me, and I wish to subscribe to your newsletter.
Kenny Sir Mans, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome. That is 1,620 followers while we're rocking and rolling. We're doing all right. Sega Star, what's going on? If you watch Sega Bits, they predict there might be re-release of Sega games on the Switch and next gen consoles. Well, we're not talking about that yet. We're not getting there yet. Because I have an article that I want to read. We always ramble in the first part of the show. And to be honest, the Sega thing is the only topic that I really have other than viewer topics. So I know I say it all the time, but this is probably going to be a much shorter show. Rumors have it that Uncle Silver has a third eye. Yes, Bruce, absolutely. Rumors. There is no verification there that is actually a thing, and you have no proof. So there. All right, let's talk about stuff. Hey, Kenny Sir Mans, nice to meet you. I only found out last night that Shantae was delayed a week only on Switch and only in Europe. Okay, not knowing why. Yeah, like why do you delay? Like what happens that you delay a digital game? Like that's so weird. I don't understand that. I really don't understand that because not even just delaying the digital game. Shantae came out yesterday for the Switch, and I guess for everything, but it was on the Switch. But it wasn't on the Switch. It wasn't in the eShop until noon. Midnight the night before. That's when the game should go live. Why would you wait until noon on the day that it was released? Like people want to wake up and play the game. That's one of those nitpicks that's like, what are you doing? I won't get my hopes up about it, but it is interesting to know that there are more unannounced titles coming. Yeah, absolutely. I ordered a limited run copy. Mine's going to be delayed even. Oh, you ordered Shantae? See, and that's my Shiro. Welcome, by the way. Shiro, that's my biggest issue with limited run stuff. With the limited run and what some of the other companies that do that stuff. That's my biggest issue with them is that you are double buying games. You know, if you wanted to play Shantae, like you bought Shantae, and it's like, okay, you bought it, you have it, but you don't have it. You have to wait. Which means you're going to play it later than everybody else, which means you run the risk of... Shantae was never really big on dramatic story events, so it's not like you're going to get spoiled as far as what happens, but, you know, there might be cool things that you see pictures of, and they're like, oh, this stage was so cool, and now you don't get to be impressed when you first see it. And that happens because you bought the physical copy, and now you have to wait for it, or you can buy the digital copy, but now you're double buying games. You know, Blaster Master 1 and 2, they announced the physical copies of those games. It's like, all right, that's great. I love those. I love the first one. I played through a good chunk of the second one, but never finished all the way through. They're fantastic games. But if I want to support them, I have to now double buy a game because I have each one of them digitally, and they were only available digitally. Nintendo traditionally always re-releases at 12 to 2-ish on Thursdays. They're doing it for years. That's me waiting for Shantae and avoiding spoilers like to play. See, but Thursday's so, I don't know. Thursday is just such an awkward. But again, if you're gonna release it on Thursday at midnight, that means Wednesday night, 11:59 p.m. A minute passes. Thursday midnight, you release the game. I don't understand. I don't understand the purpose of. Because think about this. Say the stores were still open. Say there was a physical copy of this game and stores were open like normal. Well, they are. I mean, you can go to Walmart or something. Walmart opens at like 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. If I went and bought a physical copy the day the game came out, theoretically, I could get the game before the digital release. The digital release, one of the advantages of digital releases is supposed to be that they're more easily accessible more quickly. You know, that was the point of midnight releases. You know, games would release at midnight because you wanted to get the game as soon as possible. So then when digital started to become a bigger thing, people started saying, oh, I don't need to go to midnight releases. I could buy the game digitally, and at midnight, the game will unlock and I can start playing it. So who would do that and then say, oh, boy, I can't wait till noon tomorrow when I can play my game? Like, come on, that's a little weird. I don't know, it just seems a little weird. It's definitely a first world problem, but it's one that gets my goat. That's what you. I think the main demos for limited run games are for those. The demographic. Are for those who can afford double dipping. Yeah, you got to be careful. Ebel. Yeah, because I thought it was like Evil Corp. So we're gonna say Ebel. Evil. You got to be careful when you say demos. When you're talking about video games, I'm not sure what you're talking about. To be fair, though, it's like in times like this, Greg, it's understandable why some people may want to get the game digitally while they wait for their physical version. But Neon, my issue is just that you're double buying games, and I don't like that. I think that sort of, I don't know. It's other, if you've got the money, that's fine. Let's be honest. Let's be clear about something here. If you want to do it, that's fine. I'm not one. I want to make it clear that I'm not one of those people that's like, I don't agree with this, so it's stupid for anybody else to be doing it. It makes perfect sense if you want to do it. There's no, I bought Cuphead when, I finally bought it and I finally played it. When it comes out, I love the game. When it comes out physically and it's got the extra DLC and stuff, I'll most likely buy it. If it's a decent price, I'll probably end up buying it, even though I already have the game. But to create a system that not instigates, I don't know, inspires double buying. Let's just say inspires double buying. It's just a little weird, but it's money. It's at the end, it all comes down to money. And if they can make more money doing it, they're gonna make more money doing it. I saw a joke the other day that was Final Fantasy, that if Square released Aerith Lives DLC, they would make a fortune. It's like, yeah, it sounds crazy, but if they did it, they would do it for money, and yeah, people would buy it. I did that with Celeste. I bought it digital, and then Limited Run announced their physical print run, and I was like, well, gotta buy it again. Yeah, I wouldn't mind buying Celeste again, even though I haven't played all the way. I played all the way through the story, but I never did like the harder modes or the C side or whatever the heck it is. I miss buying games on Tuesdays. I remember buying God of War on a Tuesday right after school and missing the next day to play it. Yeah, I don't know. Friday seems like the perfect day. Friday seems like a perfect day to release video games. That just makes sense. Like movies. Like you release movies on Fridays because you want people to take the hype of seeing the movie in through the weekend and go see it. So I want games released on a Friday where you can buy the game and then go home and play it all weekend, or act like you're going to play it and then realize you're an adult and you have things to do, so you never get to play it. I think it's Thursday, so it doesn't clash with when Sony and Microsoft releases games. I don't. Sony, yes, not to bash Microsoft, but I don't think anything they release at this point is going to create some mad dash. Yeah, at least give support to the developer, in this case, WayForward. It drives me nuts when companies aren't transparent about weird delays. I should add other games like Fables. Yeah, I should add that other games like Bug Fables did launch in Europe at that time. Yeah. Oh, that's sort of what I was talking about. Was that it just, I don't understand the delays in digital copies. Like what? Like if they're I get it if it happens like an hour before. It's like, oh my god, all of our servers crashed. Like something catastrophic happened. But it's just, I don't know. For some reason, like, oh, the physical copies would be okay. The digital copies is gonna be delayed. Like that's weird. I'm still really debating that Blaster Master Switch bundle. It's expensive, but it's so beautiful. I know, it really is. I've double dipped on a few games. Final Fantasy VII Remake. I have both digital and physical. Loved it so much I wanted a physical copy for my collection. If digital games were cheaper, would you find it less of an issue? Yes, Dragoon, absolutely. We've had this discussion before where digital games, if they're really serious about digital games overthrowing the physical game front, what they need to do is digital games need to be available at midnight so that there is an advantage. There's a clear advantage in buying the digital game, especially when you're talking about a competitive game where a few hours could make a difference. But when you talk about actually also storyline games where you don't want to get spoiled, but when you have it released at midnight and then the physical, you could easily say, okay, you buy it digitally, you get it 7, 8, 10 hours before everybody else does. I know it sounds crazy, but it works. The other thing should be that the games are cheaper. Why would I wait why would I wait 10 hours? You know, the game comes out at midnight digitally. Why would I wait until 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, 10 in the morning, or whenever to buy this game physically when it's also going to be $20 more expensive? Digital games should be, there should be an assessment into how much goes into physical publishing of games. That cost should be removed for digital games. I think it would be advantageous to developers to start doing stuff like that, or publishers, systems, whatever the correct term is there. Some games released first in Japan physically and then only released digitally in the West. Hatsune Miku Megamix did that, and I was very surprised as some previous Project Diva games released physically. Yeah, you know, that and that's another great reason for digital releases is that's another advantageous thing, is like, okay, well, you can physically make the game for the market that's going to buy them, and then for the markets you're unsure of, you release them digitally. You know, you send them out over there. Maybe somebody will want them. Maybe you can then later release a physical copy that includes the big giant Hatsune Miku controller. That's that crazy Horde controller. It's like $450. Also, sorry when I wrote that. I didn't mean double dipping. I meant buying the digital first and waiting. Well, that's double dipping, Neon Mold. I would call that double dipping. You're dipping into you're buying the same exact game twice. That to me is double dipping. Yeah. People made fun of us for having Street Fighter 2 on the NES and Sega. We were ahead of the game for double dipping. Okay, well, that's different, Rocky. That's a little bit different. I'm gonna say that's a little bit different because there were, first of all, not everybody had both systems, so you needed both games to exist just because there was one or the other. But those games actually felt different, especially when you talk about like Mortal Kombat. You know, Mortal Kombat felt similar on both systems, but the Super Nintendo version was the better version of the game. Hang on. The Super Nintendo version, I believe, was the better version of the first Mortal Kombat game. The only problem was that it didn't have the fatalities. It didn't have that stuff, that edge that made Mortal Kombat feel different from other games. So that's why the Genesis version was the better version. And even then, the Genesis version wasn't the better version until the code was released. That, you know, Abacab and Dullard were the two codes. So there's a reason that those would exist. But when you talk about a digital game and a physical game, they're the exact same game on the exact same system, but people will go out and buy them both. You know, like, I get it for... I double dipped on Bloodstained. I have 2 copies of Bloodstained. I have one for the PS4 and I have one for the Switch, because the Switch version I can take on the go. It's a different system. I have an easier time playing the Switch. Like, if I was going to do it on stream, I'd have an easier time playing the Switch on stream than I do on the PS4, because I don't have to take my PS4 down and reset it up here. So it's easier. The unfortunate problem, of course, with Bloodstained is that it is a far inferior version of the game. So that's a unique issue. 12 p.m. release time has to do with global. That could be it. Dragoon, yeah, you're right. Sega Star. I'm sorry, I probably overshot that. That's a good point. Is that maybe it's noon here because how far ahead is Japan? It could be noon here. Oh my God, ribs.
Spare ribs.
Rocky. Oh look, I almost said a lot of that. Rocky. With the scaring the hell out of me with the ribs with the 100 bits. Thank you so much for that. But yeah, I don't know what the time difference is. So noon here could be like midnight there. So it probably could have released all at the same time. That actually makes a lot of sense. To be fair, America Midnight isn't the only midnight in the gaming world. Yeah. I only double dip on the game if I'm buying said game on multiple platforms. It did annoy me that Shantae 4 had an Ultimate Edition with some exclusive content not available as DLC for the base game. I heard somewhere that around 35-40% of the price is to make up for physical side. Yeah, so think about it. So what would happen if you created a game that was going to sell for $60 physically, but instead you said, okay, $40. I think people would buy. I think that would be one more reason that people say, I buy all of my games digitally because it's cheaper. Double dip with Sonic Mania. I almost double dip with Sonic Mania because Sonic Mania was really good. I bought the PC version of Bloodstain and went and got the 3DS version. Was there? There wasn't a 3DS version of. Oh, Curse of. Wait, was there a 3DS version, a physical version of Curse of the Moon? Oh, I take offense. Digital, physical. Why did I have to delete so many things to install Final Fantasy VII Remake? I mean, you can get them back though, right? I heard Samurai Showdown is getting the collection. Ooh, now we're talking. I hope they do one for King of Fighters. If they do, I might double dip on that. Yeah, I will take a Samurai Showdown. Okay, so that's not so Neon. That's an interesting point that we can discuss before we get into the other stuff. Collections. I don't know that I consider collections to be double dipping. I think that a collection in many ways is its own thing, even if there's no other extra content. Because normally what collections do is they have like art, things like that. You get the good collections that have like commercials and stuff. They show you there's a lot of extra content to say, okay, you're not just getting Samurai Showdown 1 through 5. You're getting Samurai Showdown 1 through 5, all of the extra versions of the game that might have come out. You're getting a lot of digital art, like a digital art book inside the game. Maybe you're getting commercials and stuff, pictures of the original arcade cabinet. Like you're getting a lot of extra content. You're not just getting 5 games. Like Metroid Prime Trilogy, I think for the most part, Metroid Prime Trilogy was the same, except it added the motion controls for the first 2 games, which was a very divisive aspect of those games. Some people love the motion controls for Metroid Prime. Some people hated them. So that's a different thing. But yeah, I don't think that I consider collecting or buying a collection of something double dipping. No physical for Curse of the Moon. Okay, cheaper digital would kill retail copies. Which Dragoon, that's what they kind of want to do though, right? Don't they want to kill physical copies? See, okay, so here's what you do. You don't have to kill physical copies completely. Yes, buying physically saves space. Yes, absolutely. Sorry, I jumped ahead a little bit. That's probably the biggest savior to physical copies right now, is that it saves hard drive space. And right now, hard drive space is kind of it's not only limited, it is next to impossible to increase. I can't very easily go and buy another hard drive for my PS4, hook it up, have them all hooked up. I would have to buy the hard drive. I would have to do a whole bunch of transferring. I don't think they're the same hard drive, so it's not like I can buy a PC SSD and just drop it in there, right? It's like a proprietary connection or something. Like there are a lot of aspects to it where you can't just easily upgrade your storage space on a console system. So that's the biggest feature that physical copies give you. And I'll be honest, it's one of the reasons, other than the fact that I love collecting, it's one of the reasons I will buy physical copies as much as possible. I save my storage space for games that are only digital. Like if I go and buy the Blaster Master 1 and 2, if I bought those games physically, I would delete them off of my Switch. I got Bloodstained on the Switch as a hacker, but sold it and bought the PS4 version. The fact that they don't disclose the performance issues. Oh yeah, that's for Bloodstained. I personally like the Prime motion controls. Yeah, a lot of people didn't. A lot of people hated them. They do, but retail stores still have a chokehold on console sales. Yeah, and they want as much money as possible. I mean, they need them. Let's be honest. If you get rid of physical sales, or you diminish physical sales significantly, which we're already seeing. We are already seeing physical sales diminish significantly. Once you do that, the stores, the dedicated stores like GameStop, they die. The only ones that'll survive are the department stores that sell more than just those video games so they can afford to spend that money on those, or the retro gaming stores who focus on retro gaming, which is not obviously affected by the new physical market. Buying physically is great, especially for the Switch in terms of saving space on the hard drive. Yeah, absolutely. Unless if you want immediate access to all of your games. Yeah, Hero, I like I like digital. I still buy physical for the Switch. I still prefer physical, but I like digital on the Switch because I get to take my games everywhere. I don't really concern myself with digital on the PS4 because I'm not going to take my PS4 somewhere, right? I don't have to worry about having my PS4 out in the wild, and then if I want games, I have to bring all of my games with me. I don't need to worry about that. I'm here with all of them. I'm okay buying everything physical. For the Switch, because of the portability, yeah, I like the idea that, I don't have to carry a bunch of games depending on where I'm going to be going. And even then, that's an interesting question. On a physical for yeah. It's huge mandatory downloads and giant updates. The PS4 uses a typical a laptop HDD, so you can just plop that in. Oh, it does. Well, does it use an HDD or an SSD? That's my issue. That's what I'm curious about. I'm here, having finished some pizza. I stick with physical if at all possible, not only for storage, but principle of the matter. I just don't trust pure digital shops. Yeah. PS4s can't run either. Oh no, so it's not. It is a proprietary, so it's not very easy to upgrade your hard drive on your PS4. If it's a proprietary issue, then that's that's sort of the problem right there. Apologies if I'm late to this topic. There's one game I wish I could double dip, and that is Slime Rancher. I own it for the Xbox One. Oh my god, Slime Rancher. If you want to swap your PS4 hard drive, you need to put the formatting software on a USB drive and then set up your old hard drive, which all you really need to do is transfer save data, which is okay. The instructions on Sony's website. It's not the hardest thing to do. You can. Okay. I thought you couldn't. Oh, PS4s can run. I'm sorry, Ryan. I thought for some reason it said can't run. It can run them. Okay. So that's not awful. That's a good way to do it. Do they run just as well if you buy an SSD? Do they load up just as fast? Or am I going to have to wait 20 minutes every time I want to upload? Cuz I other than large storage solutions and price, there's no reason to get HDDs anymore. There's no reason to get a hard disk drive anymore. You can easily run everything with SSDs. Like I said, except for the fact that SSDs cost more money, and the fact that when you reach large storage solutions, when you're talking about like 20 gig hard drives, 30 gig hard drives and stuff, like especially when you're talking about like enterprise solutions, those my understanding is that hard disk drives are notoriously more reliable when you talk about large numbers like that. I love how having a Mac can instantly complicate. Yeah, Apple's nice, but you pay the Apple tax and everything just costs more, and it's just so frustrating. It can use both HDD and SSD. Yeah. But the PS4 doesn't gain a huge boost by using it. Oh, okay. All right, so that's pretty cool then. In regards to older consoles, game sizes are actually pretty decent for going digital. The only physical 360 games I have for the console I found are the ones that are just plain cheaper to get from a used game store. Yeah, my 360 my 360 library isn't actually that bad. I think I've got like 25 games on it. That's actually not bad for a system that I didn't invest a whole lot into. That's actually not too bad. Once I got my desktop with an SSD, I can never go back. Shiro, I built this computer last year, and it was the first time ever even using an SSD. It was I've never used another computer that had one installed. It was always hard drives. Yes, I other than a large storage solution, I will probably never buy another hard drive in my life, just because, or an HDD specifically, just because it's oh my god. Like even that, Ryan, where you've got a boot drive, you've got an SSD boot drive where you've got like 500 gigs or a terabyte or something of SSD space, and then you've got another hard drive for your other stuff. Unless I need that hard drive to be 5 or 10 gigs, which I personally don't, unless I need it that big, I will probably never buy another hard disk drive ever again. It's so good. Yeah, see, that's the problem. If you work in See, even 1 terabyte, they sell relatively affordable 1 terabyte SSDs. So even then, because I did a stupid thing, and this is I do kind of regret this now. When I built my computer, I only had enough money to put one drive in it, so I went with a 500 gig SSD, which works perfectly, works fantastically. I wanted to upgrade my storage so that I could have standard storage. Basically, what I wanted to do is have it so that all of my episodes, all of my assets for streaming, all of my funny pictures and stuff like that, anything that I wanted to keep, music or anything. When I got a new computer, I basically wanted to just take that hard drive, put it in the new computer, but have a new operating system drive in the new computer, whenever that was going to be. I opted for another 500 gig hard drive. So I have a terabyte in my computer, but 500 of it is a boot drive, and then the other 500 is pure storage. I probably should have saved and waited to get a 1 terabyte storage SSD. I probably should have done that. So that's probably the thing that I regret the most about my computer, which I could just do. That's the thing. I could save up and I can go and get a 1 terabyte drive, drop it in there, clear out the 500 gig, and then pull the 500 gig out and then use that in another build sometime. Yeah, you should stick to hybrid drives. I work in video, so yeah. It does baffle me how some remasters like HD RE1 remake can balloon there to 10 times their original size. Yeah, well, the Call of Duty Warzone is like 100 gig download. Yeah, I mean, it's purely for file storage. I don't use it to run programs. Yeah, that's what I do. The only programs I do run off of my storage drive are emulators. I run all of my emulator, what little emulators I use, I run them off of the storage drive, because when I do upgrade my computer and I put that old drive into the new computer, everything's going to be right there. So I don't have to worry about reinstalling emulators, reinstalling ROMs or anything like that. They happen to run just off of there, but they're, old emulators are like, they take no power to run. Yeah, not like loading pictures of videos on VLC take any time at all. Call of Duty Modern Warfare is more than 200 gig. Is it more than 200 gigabytes? Well, I only downloaded Brandon. I don't have the full game. All I have is Warzone. All I have is the BR. But I think the BR makes you download most of the full game. So I don't have like the story and stuff like that. My PC is going to be a 1 terabyte SSD boot drive and then 2 terabyte HDD for miscellaneous files and such. I also have a portable 4 terabyte HDD that works amazingly as a file dump and backup system. I have a few file dump drives, but I don't really use them like external drives. For ROMs, all of my hacks and such. And by the time I fill up 2 terabyte internal drive, I'll just be able to buy a new. Yeah, and they'll be cheaper in a few years. Let's hope so. Time to be healthy and go for a walk. I'll be back, dudes. Yeah. So this all started from a digital gaming discussion, but yeah, so that's probably the biggest aspect of the advantage of digital games, is that you don't have to worry about all of these hard drive storage areas. You just pop in your physical disk and it works fine. It's I don't know why we got so far away from that. I guess convenience is why we got so far away from that. Buying music CDs and things like that. Like, I talked about Apple a second ago, and I own an iPod. Like, I own a 4th gen iPod, which is the first iPod video. I will never buy another iPod again, because they overcomplicate things. They want you to buy everything digitally, which is fine. It's just Apple has their own proprietary AAC files. It drives me crazy. I only use 1 terabyte out of that 4 terabytes so far. I feel like I have so much power sometimes. Yeah. I don't know what my here. Let me see what my storage is right now. My storage drive has 267 gigs filled and 198 gigs empty. So that's one of the reasons I look at that and it's like, I probably should have bought the 1 terabyte just to be safe. My boot drive My boot drive has 369 gigabytes filled with 96 gigs empty. So yeah, I probably should have sprung for the 1 terabyte. Should have just waited. I think they were on sale. I think that was the problem. The 500 gigs were on sale, and I just couldn't pass up the sale. 500 gig Samsung drive SSD for like $70. It was like 65. It was 65 plus tax, so it was $70 when I bought it. It's hard to pass up. Music files are so amazingly small. There's no reason to have CDs. And yeah, I have a Sony MP3 player. It doesn't need to connect to the internet, pay for anything, etc. Yeah. Music files are so amazing. Yeah. Well, no, Ryan. I do actually have a use for CDs. I don't have to worry about buying them digitally. I like having a physical. Plus, you get the artwork and everything. But I take my CDs in the car. So I need them to be CD accessible because my old car had a USB port on it so that I could put a USB drive with music in it. For whatever reason, it refused to acknowledge the USB songs properly. It would put them all in alphabetical order by song title, not by band, and it wouldn't see half of the songs on there. And I couldn't search through them. It was a very weird sort of situation. So I just stick with CDs because they just work. Switch ports can be better compressed due to flash storage, but even then, some companies don't put the effort and don't respect our storage space. Yeah. My iPod Classic crapped out on me. I kind of want to see someone can fix it because I think it helps. Yeah, I have like 2,000 songs on my iPod. The battery's just dead. If I plug it in and charge the battery, I get about a half an hour of listen time before it's just dead, like completely dead. I'd rather just use my phone as an iPod. My phones don't have as much storage. I had a 30 gig iPod. So I mean, let's be honest. I've probably listened to about 75% of the songs on my iPod at least once, but at least once. The bulk of them that I was listening to at a lot was probably 10% of the music on there. But again, that's a situation of I'd rather have it all and then I can listen to it whenever, as opposed to I have 1 gig worth of songs and then but for whatever reason I feel like listening to something else. There was a question I was going to ask too, and I completely forgot it. I have some CDs for game soundtracks and such. They're cool to have. Yeah, I like them. They're fun. Mine is that too. I just said screw the USB. Use the 3.5 millimeter. You mean? Or not the 1/4 inch? Are you talking about a 1/4 inch jack? Oh, holy smokes! Maybe it's just because my phone is 128 gigs internal with 64. Yeah, that's my problem. My phone. I never had a phone with more than 32 gigs of internal storage. Some older game soundtracks I want my tracking down the CDs for, and that's for a collection. That's always for like the collectability of them. So I always acknowledge that. I always acknowledge that the collectability is a separate sort of aspect. This bums me out. I knew I was going to ask a question, and I thought it was a cool question, and now I don't remember what it was. Maybe some older game soundtrack. Maybe it's 3.5. Yeah. Well, 3.5 millimeter is a headphone jack. The standard headphone jack is the 3. Do I have one here? I don't have it right here. 3.5 millimeter is a headphone jack. 1/4 inch is the stereo jack. That wider one. That's what my headphones are. That's the 1/4 inch jack. But that might be 9 millimeters. I don't know. Game soundtracks are for collecting. Yeah, I love. Oh my God, Jamer Lammy and Parappa soundtracks would be fantastic to have. Recently upgraded my Switch to the 400 gig card. Never thought I'd get there. I have the 128 gig card in my Switch, and I don't buy that many digital games, so I'm like overwhelmed with storage. It's fantastic. I love it. All right, we are going to get into our first topic here. I'm going to actually push the topic change button. Sega. I wanted to talk about this. Again, we normally don't talk about rumors. I'm sorry, I'm opening up a page. We normally don't talk about rumors on here, but this is, to me, a different kind of rumor because supposedly Sega has some sort of announcement that's gonna shake up the gaming world next week. What we are what we're almost 100% sure of is that it is a Sega announcement that is going to be amazing. What we don't know is what it is. Like, so this is the fun aspect. These are the times when people get all pissed off. I forget who it was, what it was we were talking about. It was probably Smash Brothers or something. And somebody came into the chat and was complaining that we speculate about this stuff. And they were saying, like, oh, I don't understand what the point of speculating about this stuff is. It's stupid. And I said to them the same thing that I'm going to say right now. It's fun. It's fun. There's no, like, the reason I don't really discuss rumors is because rumors don't leave a lot to the imagination usually. Rumors are this thing is going to happen or it's not going to happen. This is like there's some scoop coming next week. There's some big story coming, a big drop or a big reveal. So I like to, it's fun. It's fun to discuss what we think it could be, what we want it to be is probably the bigger thing to say. That what we want it to be tends to poison what we think it could be. Yeah, it can literally be anything. Arcade games, Monkey Ball, old IP coming back, probably not Sonic. Well, they're talking about, okay, so I'm going to read this article here. This article is on Nintendo Life, and it references an interview that was had. So the title here is Tech Journalist Teases Revolutionary Scoop in next week's Famitsu, possibly concerning Sega. It'll rile up the games industry. What if it's a Dreamcast Mini? If this new tease is to be believed, it looks like next week is set to bring with it a pretty significant announcement for the world of gaming. Japanese technology journalist Zenji Nishikawa has hinted at a huge scoop during a live stream on YouTube. The news is set to be published in the June 4th issue of Famitsu Weekly Famitsu, where Nishikawa has a regular column which focuses on digital tech. He describes the news as a world premiere article, one that will rival Wired's exclusive scoop on the PS5. His comments start at 2:07:41 in his live stream, and there's a link. If you go to the Nintendo Life article, the 2:07:41 is the timestamp inside the stream. It's a link, so it should take you right to the stream. And this is right from this is the comments. Thanks to Gamatsu, by the way, for the translation. My column in next week's issue of Famitsu is crazy. I got a huge scoop. It's a world premiere article and an exclusive. It may not be Nikkei or Weekly Bunshun. I don't know what that is. I think I know what the Nikkei is. That's like Japanese stock market. But if you want to know if it's a scoop that big, it totally is. It's a scoop from a game company that everyone loves, an insane scoop. Last year, Wired got the exclusive story for PlayStation 5, right? Other media didn't. It's that level of scoop. I interviewed a certain company's executive and technical staff, and it's really revolutionary. It's a revolution. Minion. Oh, I'm sorry. Cyber the Wolf gifting its Tier 1 sub to Minion. Thank you so much, Cyber the Wolf. Very, very much appreciated. Isn't there something going on where if you gift a sub or you sub, you get like special emotes or something? I thought that was something going on. Some are predicting streaming. Wish I could say I had confidence. One thing I think people haven't thought through, but Sega is very big in running arcades in Japan. What if perhaps they're releasing their arcade games on PC stores? Ooh, that connect and play. That would be a good one. It'll be in Famitsu next Thursday. I already sent in my manuscript, so the proofs are being made now. It's a scoop on a level that when the story comes out, other media will make a fuss to the company like, why didn't you let us cover it? Maybe people will say, who was the first to break that story? It was Zenji Nishikawa, right? It's a scoop as major as the PlayStation 5 scoop. I just wanted to say that in advance. I can't say anything more here, but it's okay for me to tease. It. I was also told that it's okay to do so at various meetings. It's being talked about in other places, just not by the media. It'll rile up the games industry. So that was from the stream. That was a translation from the stream itself. He stopped short of confirming who or what the scoop might be about, but some viewers noticed that Sega seemed to be accidentally name-dropped. After realizing this, Nishikawa reportedly said, "Did I say Sega? Then it's Sega." And also going on to say that the announcement is not a Dreamcast 2. All right. So I have one problem here. And that is how you say these words. It has to do with the inflection and what we think we heard versus what is written here. I'm going to read this again. He stopped short of confirming who or what the scoop might be about, but some viewers noticed that Sega seemed to be accidentally name dropped. After realizing this, Nishikawa reportedly says, and here's where the problem is. Did I say Sega? Then it's Sega. And that's a quote. And then the rest of it is not a quote. Also going on to say that the announcement is not a Dreamcast 2. It depends on how you read that. Now, most of us are reading it the same way. Did I say Sega? Then it's Sega. Like he's confirming it. What he could be saying there, and again, this is the issue of these are words written on a page, not something that we're hearing. What he could be saying there is, did I say Sega? Well, then it's Sega. Saying that I'm not saying what it is, but I'm going to let you believe whatever you want. So realistically, this might not actually be a Sega announcement. It just very much feels that way. And the fact that he went on to confirm that it's not the Dreamcast 2 tells me that it could most likely also be, that is most likely going to be Sega. Yeah, he could also be joking. If you think I'm saying Sega, okay, then that's what I'm saying. I'm saying Sega. But and then it's not, and then it turns out to not, because that's the same thing. Because that could happen, right? This could come out and people could say, I thought it was about Sega, and he could literally say, yeah, but okay, I never actually said that it was about Sega. You all just assumed it. You all assumed it was Sega, and I didn't say otherwise, basically. Just because, yeah. Just means he might shoot. Yeah, and Ryan, that's probably the biggest issue, is that he's going to look like a jerk if he. But now, okay, so he's going to look like a jerk if he alludes to the idea that it's Sega and then it's really not. But then at the same time, he is probably under NDA to not be able to say that it's not Sega one way or the other. It's a sort of weird thing. I'm saying it's Sega. I'm absolutely saying, 100% this is a Sega announcement. So the question is, going forward with the idea that it's a Sega announcement, what is this announcement? What could Sega say that shakes up the industry? Because that's the way this is all framed. This is all framed that this is going to be a massive thing. The biggest expectation is a return to console gaming. Between Sony's timing, I get the feeling they're getting an exclusivity deal specifically with Sony for PS5. This could be a return to, we're just going to say that, a return to console gaming. This poses a lot of questions. This is the only real topic that we have for today, and it's probably a good thing because this poses a massive amount of questions. The first of which is a topic that we have brought up several times on the show before, and that is, does the market even need another console? We have the Switch, which is very much its own thing in a sense that it has a corner of the market that is untapped by anybody else. This successfully. The Nomad was fantastic, but let's face it, it was trash compared to the Switch. No one's going to touch this hybrid console handheld system. Because the Nomad was Sega, what if we're getting a Nomad 2? What if we're getting a Switch-style hybrid system? Because the Switch doesn't have a patent and a copyright and a trademark on hybrid systems, just their version of it. So they could be coming out with a hybrid system, call it the Nomad 2. Obviously, they could come up with a console system. This could be a console system that exclusively plays lower tier games. You know, we've seen it before when we talk about like the Steam box and all of that stuff where, well, the Steam box, I think, played higher end stuff. But, you know, the stupid Atari system that they keep pretending is coming out and is probably never going to be released. You know, you could be talking about a lower power system that's very cheap, but is a cheaper option for people to get. Let me read some of these. Some were saying Microsoft would buy them. That's an interesting. We'll get to that because Mr. L. That's another possibility as far as shaking up the industry. I really doubt they're going to make their own console. Every piece of hardware besides the Genesis lost in tons of money. Oh yeah, Ryan, absolutely. Okay, I'll be honest though. I will give them one thing, because I love challenging people on different things. It's probably the best, one of my favorite and least favorite aspects of myself. Every system with Sega after the Genesis lost them money and failed. But most of those systems, if not all of them, had some extenuating circumstance. Is that the right word? Extenuating circumstance that can be attributed to their death. The Saturn was a relatively decent system. They should have focused more on the 2D side of gaming, or RPGs, stuff, fighters, stuff like that. They should have done that, and they should have done that over here in an affordable way so that people could have gotten more into it. The problem was they didn't. But the Saturn started on a rough patch because of the release issues, which if you want, anybody can go and you can do some research. I'm sure there's a couple of YouTube documentaries about it where they announced that the Saturn was going to be releasing, and then they said, oh, by the way, it's available like tomorrow, and then one store chain already had them, so then the other store chains were pissed off, and it was turmoil from the start. It was from the beginning. It was turmoil. The Dreamcast was a fantastic system that bootlegging and copying games annihilated. I thought that Dreamcast was doing actually really well. I worked at a video game store when the Dreamcast was released, and I worked at a game store through the entire life of the Dreamcast. And the Dreamcast did relatively well right up until people started bootlegging games, and it became easy to download games and burn games on regular CDs, and they were going around so prevalently that sales dried up immediately. The Sega CD was wildly expensive and was a confusing add-on, and then the games ended up being expensive. There was a lot of Elements of Game Gear. Yes, I did, not all the way through Elements, but I did play. That is actually a good game. There were circumstances behind each Sega failure that it's easy to point at and say, okay, without that, it might have done better. Let's see. So as far as the consoles losing money, there were some reasons. So I still don't think it'll be a console. I still doubt that it will be a console. The problem is Sega keeps doing that one thing that kills it. Yeah, that's Ryan. The most common factor in Sega's constant failures is Sega. That's exactly what it is. There's another theory that was brought up that I do want to discuss. This is something that I actually like. Somebody mentioned a home arcade system. Sega releasing. This is a great concept. This would be a very cool concept that I'm not going to take credit for, even though I'm the first I ever heard of it. Was Sega could release a console in the form of a home arcade style setup, like the 1-up machines, where the arcade 1-up machines, where it's a small arcade system that also goes online, and you can play other people in full-blown arcade machines. Imagine getting on your arcade 1-up, not actually arcade 1-up, but your small Sega arcade system, which is like a 3/4 cabinet or something, and playing arcade games, playing arcade-style games, run and gun shooters, beat 'em ups, shmups, fighting games, puzzle games, and music games, rhythm games. Imagine playing all of those games with an online connection, so that you're not only playing other people that have those machines, but maybe even playing people in actual arcades. So you go and you play My on at the arcade, and maybe you do it competitively. But when you do it competitively, you're playing people who might be at home. It's kind of an interesting concept. I wonder how game-changing it would be, but it's definitely an interesting concept, because that's actually one of the things I thought about with those arcade 1-up machines. When they released like the Street Fighter machine and all, I remember thinking, why can't there be a program into it Why can't it be designed in a way that it goes online and you play against other people with arcade 1-up machines? Too much of a luxury item. Hold on. Are you talking about this? Hold on. Let me jump back here. You can't spell ages without Sega. No major Japanese company should want to be bought by Microsoft. Oh, the Microsoft thing. Okay. Like the Neo Geo Mini. But bigger, but full size. Imagine playing beat 'em ups of a company logo. Oh wait, Capcom did that. Well, that's the thing. You'd be talking about a Sega built machine, but they could get third party support from other developers. Indie developers especially. Too much of a luxury item. Money is the major question there. No, not really. And I think Ryan just stole my answer. Arcade 1-up machines are $300. Like Ryan, you said $200. They're $300. Some of them are like $250 and $300 for a little arcade machine that plays 3 games. What's the Ninja Turtles one? The Ninja Turtles one plays the original Ninja Turtles and the arcade Turtles in Time, which isn't even the most popular version of that game, and that machine is $300. Now imagine that you're paying $300 for an arcade 1-up style machine, a 3/4 size machine, but instead what you're getting is a Neo Geo arcade machine, where there you go, like a Neo Geo arcade machine that has swappable cartridges, digital storage, so you don't need cartridges, you can just digitally download them, or all digital. You can do all digital, and internet capability, so that any game that you download for the Sega arcade machine, oh my god, you call it the Naomi 2 or Naomi 3, whatever, you would get an arcade experience at home with multiple games that can be played online against other competitors for $300, $400. Call it $400, and you get a much better screen and better buttons. Was the Naomi 3? I don't remember how far the Naomi went up. I don't remember how far the Naomi machines went up. Oh my god, you call it Naomi Home. Naomi Homie. Oh my god, the Sega Naomi Homie. Come on. So yeah, Ryan said, not really. Arcade machines themselves are $200. Just add some online connectivity and storage. It won't be expensive. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Neo Geo Large. Oh my god. An arcade system with internet connectivity would be cool, but I feel the niche is too small for the level of hype they're hinting at. We're talking about a story that's supposed to be on the level of PlayStation 5 announcement. I don't know that it's on PlayStation 5 announcement, but I do think it would be pretty impressive. I think it would be pretty amazing to release a home console like that and to create it. Because now what you've done, when you talk about, the thing about these arcade 1-up machines is that you buy it and you stick it in your home, and that's it, right? You buy it doesn't have online connectivity. It's not shaking up how you play games or anything like that. When you have if you sell those at an affordable price, and the arcade 1-up machines, even despite all of that, they still sell. The people still buy them, even though all you do is you buy it, you stick it in your house, and that's it. Now add all of those features that I just talked about. Add the ability to download multiple games to the system, so you've got one place to play all of your arcade games. Now you've got an actual arcade stick. Now you've got a way to play arcade games. And Ryan, you said it exactly right. Arcades are huge in Japan. Arcades are really big still in Japan. You're talking about giving people in the Japanese market especially, you're talking about giving them the ability to have an arcade style system, arcade joystick, arcade buttons, arcade game experience in their homes, but they still get to play against other people. They get to do it in the privacy of their own home during COVID-19 without spending quarters, without spending money or buying cards or whatever it costs. Arcades, for as much as we love arcades, it's 25 cents to $1 to press the start button. That's a bit extreme for a lot of people. Like, that's a lot of money to say, hey, if you want to press start, you have to pay $1. Like, that's a lot. So you're talking about the ability to give people across the world that experience. I mean, here we go. Here's a poll topic for you. Here's a raise your hand. Raise your hand if you've ever wanted an arcade machine in your house. If you've ever wanted one arcade machine, it could be one arcade machine with one game. If you've ever wanted one in your house, raise your hand. Now, pretend you get to have that one arcade machine, that one stand-up unit. But that stand-up unit plays dozens, if not hundreds of games online so that you can play against other people. That's a big shakeup. It'd be cool, but not practical. See, that's the problem, Dr. Gibbs. It would be impractical to have a row of arcade machines in your house. But people do, right? If you've seen people that buy all of the arcade one-up machines, or at least they buy multiples. They buy the ones that they really like. And then in their house, they've got a little arcade setup with 5 arcade one-up machines. I've seen pictures of people with arcade one-up machines that also have MAME machines. They literally have no reason to buy an arcade one-up because they have an arcade room in the house. They have an arcade in the house that plays any of the games that they can buy on these arcade one-up machines. But they still do it. They do it because it's fun and because it's amazing and because it's a different experience. And that's what everybody's looking for, right? People buy VR headsets to play regular games because they want a different experience. I still disagree. You'll get less games for something more expensive than a console. No. $400 is what consoles cost. So it's not less expensive than a console. I'm going to disagree with you there. And remember, and again, you're not. And here, Hawk. Here's the issue that I'm going to keep coming back to. I would agree with you. I would absolutely agree with you that the size is too much, that it's too much money, and it's too niche of a market. I would agree with you, except for the fact that people are paying the same amount of money for these arcade one-up machines, and they're getting 2 and 3 games. I'm talking about a system that goes online and allows you to download dozens and even hundreds of games. I'm talking about an arcade machine that allows you to play Them's Fightin' Herds and Skullgirls and Sam Show and Street Fighter, every version of Street Fighter. All of these games on an arcade style machine in your house online with other people. That's a little bit less of a niche market. And that's just fighting games. That's just fighters. You could go on and you can play the Neo Geo games. You know, any game that inspired you to play 2 players. It works. It works for that. I'm not saying that's what it is. I'm just saying that's what it could be, and that's what I would like it to be. We're gonna jump back up here. The Neo Geo Mini looks like a miniature arcade cabinet, but it has an HDMI line to plug in. The biggest problem with the Neo Geo Mini was that it did some bad things as far as the emulation goes. That's a bigger topic than right now.
Your ideas are intriguing to me, and I wish to subscribe to your newsletter.
The Jackson81, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome. I live in a small apartment. I don't have room for even one. Yeah, well, Cyber, that's not having room for even one is an extreme, but most people have room for an arcade one-up machine, especially if you're a gamer. You know, if you say you live in a small apartment and you don't have room for one of those, but you're a gamer, so that means that your TV and your video games all take up a certain amount of space. It might be possible to dedicate some of that space to an arcade one-up size machine. Remember, I'm talking about a 3/4 size arcade machine. I'm not talking about a full-blown 6 feet tall or 5'8", 5'9", whatever those are. I think they were 6 feet, right? Regular arcade machines are like 6 feet tall. 3 feet wide, weighs 300 pounds. Like, I'm not talking about one of those. Even though most of that weight was from the CRT. There's also a matter of arcades often using. I apologize if I'm skipping things. Online beat 'em ups would be great, absolutely. There's also the matter of arcades often using unique controls and layouts for buttons. This is the only Gator. This is the only issue that I would have. And that's really for and hold on, I'm gonna finish reading. I always do that. I like halfway through the comment, I'm like, no. There's also the matter of arcades often using unique controls and layouts for buttons, unless you sell swappable controls as accessories for specific games. To do all that without expensive accessories, you have to limit it to games using the same or similar enough layouts to work for all at once. I can't imagine it would be something you couldn't do with a simple arcade compilation for a console with the controls reworked for. Okay, so I will show you right now. Hold on, I'm gonna show you right now. This is the wrapped for arcade stick. This is a pretty standard layout for arcade sticks right now. The 8 buttons here, a lot of them stop at 6. A lot of these arcade sticks, they're meant for fighting games. So you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then they omit these 2 buttons here, and then this is the options button. This layout works, I would argue, with most, if not all, arcade games that come out now, with the exception of very specific games. Playing an arcade game, playing Paperboy on that is clearly not the same arcade experience. Playing Tempest on that is clearly not the same arcade experience. Centipede with the ball it's not the same thing with that joystick as it would be playing it in the arcades. But there are not a lot of modern games coming out that do that, right? With the exception of rhythm games. Rhythm games are notorious for having unique control schemes built into the system. Hey, quiet little Capricorn. We're discussing what Sega's announcement could be. Could it possibly be a home arcade console system? But most arcade games that come out and that have come out can be worked on that style of buttons. So it's fine. It works okay. Yes, there are going to be the retro games that don't work on that. You know, you want to play Centipede or something like that. For those instances, I would probably say, like, even with the arcade 1-up, like I talk about how the arcade 1-up for me is not worth it because it's 3 games for $300 and I get to use an arcade stick. Big whoop, I can use an arcade stick now. But there are arcade 1-up machines that have a trackball or that have the wheel for like Tempest. Those are worth it to me. That actually is pretty cool because you're not just getting the game, you're getting the unique control scheme. So I like that. Most beat 'em ups and fighting games wouldn't be that much of an issue because a 6-button controller setup will work just fine. It's the older arcade games like Tempest, Centipede. Yeah, exactly. Trackball machines are very niche and few and far between. Considering the timing, I think it's a big exclusivity deal with Sony and PS5 stuff, and they'll finally announce the Adventure 1 and 2 remakes that have been sort of semi-confirmed in the past few years. Okay, so outside of consoles, one of the expectations with this announcement is that they are merging with another company, that they are being bought out by somebody, or that they are merging, or that they're going to sign some sort of exclusivity deal. If they do that, I feel like they would shoot themselves in the foot with that, because an exclusivity deal doesn't mean you're making content. It means it means that whatever content you do make is only limited to one company. And so I don't think that it will be in their interest to sign some sort of exclusivity deal like that. The other option is probably that they got bought by somebody or they're getting bought by somebody. I think that this is also extremely unlikely. However, because I love doing it, if Sega, so is that aside from Sonic, all their stuff tends to do best on Sony. Yeah, you're right. If that is the case, if Sega was purchased by a company of the big 3, who would you want to have purchased them? Hey AR, hey Arwing, what is going on? Who would you want to have purchased them? Because I see a lot of people, because of the timing of the announcement, I see a lot of people saying Sony. There's been the issue of Microsoft. People were talking earlier about Microsoft. I told you we'd come back to it. People were talking about Microsoft. I don't think it's going to be Microsoft. Specifically, and I think somebody mentioned it earlier, specifically because Sega is a Japanese company. Microsoft does not do well in Japan. It would be well outside of their best interest to do that. I think Nintendo. I think if that has to be the news, that Sega was bought by another company, I want it to be Nintendo. And okay, so hold on, Minion, I'm gonna read your comment here. It's a long shot in the dark, but what if Sega announces a homecoming sort of phase, as in they give each of their dormant franchises a shot? That will be interesting, but I don't know if that shakes up the games market. I don't know if that shakes up gaming in general. We're trying to think of something that will shake up gaming. Sega being bought by Sony, I think would have people saying, "Oh wow, I can't believe Sega was bought by Sony. Oh, I guess they're going to make exclusive games for Sony," and like, I think that's how people would accept it. They would listen to it and they would say, "Okay, that's the thing that's happening." I think if Sega was to sit down in front of a camera and say, "We have sold our company and we are going to be owned by and make games exclusively for Nintendo," I think that is world-shattering news, because now not only do you have the history of these two companies, these two mega rivals, the two really that started the idea of a console war. You have these two companies now working together who have similar kinds of interests, bright, colorful, aesthetically pleasing, fun to play games they are both notoriously known for. You have them working together in a market that wants that, in a market that has been enjoying that for years now, and is probably the direction that we're going in. We have a few what I call brown shooters. I always call them brown shooters, which is the military style, very realistic. Everything is covered in dirt or concrete. Like they all look the same. The Call of Duties and the Battlefields and all of that stuff. And then even the sci-fi versions of those games. But look at what's become some of the most popular games nowadays. I constantly see the Yakuza games being mentioned. You got games like Overwatch, Valorant, which is about to come out and shake up the CS:GO world. You've got these games that are visually pleasing, aesthetically pleasing, and they're fun to play. And you've got two companies that are known for that sort of thing that are going to now work together. That to me would be gigantic news. If nothing else, just extremely interesting. They go from rivals to more than best buds. As a Nintendo fan, I'd be bummed that they were bought by Sony, but even if they were bought by Nintendo, I'd feel bad if Sonic got locked to a specific system again. That would probably be the only issue. Sega has more of a Western focus these days. Don't see them caring much for Sega. Sony has more of a Western focus these days. Don't see them caring much for Sega. Okay. Here's the problem. The idea of Sony buying them is actually also very interesting, because Sony notoriously is the grown-up system, right? That's one of the grown-up systems where you get the brown shooters. They're in the past couple of years that's changed, especially with the indie market. But for the most part, Sony was not known for those types of Nintendo-ish games, right? Sega's known for stuff like that. Sony buying Sega would mean that now they've got a developer that makes those kinds of games. It would actually be kind of interesting. I could say that it would actually be interesting. I just don't think it would be received as interesting as it actually would be. That's a weird sort of logic, so I apologize if I lost you somewhere in there. I think I lost myself a little bit too. I feel Sony would do best with using this is not Microsoft. I feel Sony would do best with using all of Sega's IPs. Nintendo would essentially do Sonic and Yakuza and Atlas stuff, and I think that would be it. Sony, I think, would at least get re-releases for more of Sega's legacy content, especially considering Nintendo typically ignores most of its lesser-known legacy content for years, leaving it on the end of content. Okay, so Gator, the problem is that if you bought Sega, you leave Sega as the developer. So Sega, you don't have to worry about the fact that, Nintendo doesn't care about some of these old franchises. Sega does. Sega, whenever they release compilations, Sega remembers that these games exist. Nintendo was the one that doesn't remember that Donkey Kong Country even exists. Sega remembers all of that stuff. So if you take a company like Sega, who Sega does nothing but remember the old days. Like every time you turn around, they're re-releasing Sonic 1 and they're re-releasing Phantasy Star, and like, you know what I mean? Like every time there's a Sega compilation, there's a ton of old games on there. Sega very much remembers the old days. If you give them a platform to remake or reboot a lot of these franchises, modern day, you're going to end up with a lot of great stuff. You're going to end up, we already got like Streets of Rage 4, right? Streets of Rage 4 was very well received. It was a fantastic game, as is my understanding. I didn't play it myself. What happens when you give Sega a viable platform like the Switch and you tell them, here's $200 million. Make what you want. Make what you want, bring it to us, and we will decide what to do. 200 million seems excessive, but you've got stuff like the Panzer Dragoon remakes. They already redid Panzer Dragoon 1, 2 was already in the works. Saga is an inevitability. I'm hoping. And that's a major game. You have an indie market that is focusing on retro style gaming that can bring back dozens of, maybe a dozen franchises, right? You've got some of the fun stuff like Toe Jam and Earl, stuff that has seen some more recent releases, but you've got Rocket Knight Adventures. You know, these are wildly popular games that people know about. People love Rocket Knight Adventure. Every time somebody talks about it, they talk about it in a positive way. These are old franchises that could be rebooted, and they need a proper platform, proper way to do it. Nintendo buying Sega would be exactly that. I got questions. The Jackson, hang on a second. When we get to viewer topics, that's the Q&A portion. Unless you've got questions about what we're talking about currently. Re-releasing the same Genesis game. Yeah. It's just a fascinating possibility. And that's sort of what, you know, that's the basis of it all, is that all of this is fascinating and we don't know. And that's my favorite part. My favorite part is that we don't know. Should we unlock? Okay. I may have bought a Sega Saturn last year, but I'm not buying new games because of pricing. So if we knock out the unlikely, a new console and a buyout, and the possible exclusive deal. Okay, so yeah, Dr. Gibbs, that's a good point. So we say that it's not a console. We say that it's not it's not a buyout. We say that it's not an exclusivity deal. What do we think it is? There is, I had one. Well, no, Soda. We're looking for an announcement that shakes up the gaming world. We're looking for something that is, hey Mendez, we're looking for something that is massive, on massive in scale in the world of video gaming. What could it be? There was one more idea that I had. One more. This is a long shot. Sega decides that they are getting out of video gaming, or at least stepping out of video gaming in a big way, and they are selling all of their IPs. That, to me, would be one of the most amazing shakeups. Unfortunate. Absolutely unfortunate. Wildly long shot. Not going to happen. But Sega decides we are selling Sonic the Hedgehog. We are selling Rocket Knight Adventures. We're selling Yakuza. We're selling Panzer Dragoon. We're selling all of our franchises, and they're all up for grabs. Who wants them? That long shot. But wow, what an announcement that would be. Holy smokes. Wait. I have a
Why do you say things that you know will hurt me?
came in at the right time yet again. Big Doubt. Yeah, everybody's doubting it. Big Doubt says they're trying to get Sakura Wars off the ground again. What would get Sakura Wars off the ground again than a bidding war for the rights to Sakura Wars? Did Sega announce something? Mendez, Sega is supposedly going to announce something next week. We don't know yet. I joined in at the perfect time. Yeah, these are fun. This is what I like. This is the dumb speculation that I like. Way out there. But it's fun to think, but what if? Like, it's like winning the lottery, right? Like, we always think, like, winning the lottery is pretty much, I've come to make an announcement. We always think, like, winning the lottery is not going to happen. It's like a $350 million to one shot. But could you imagine? And that's what this is like. Like, no way this is going to happen. No way that would be the thing that happens. But wow, you could see, like, we talk all the time about old franchises coming back from Sega. This could be the rebirth. That could be the rebirth of a lot of these franchises because companies are going to want to buy them and they're going to want to use their IP. I also realized the opposite of a buyout of Sega. What if Sega is teaming up or buying out another company? Dr. Gibbs, that's an interesting concept. That's not one that I really thought of. What if Sega is buying something else? What if I don't know how this would work. I'm not entirely sure how this would work. But what if Sega is somehow buying into Microsoft's interest in Japan? You know, Microsoft has notoriously not done well in Japan because the Xbox is kind of like considered trash over there. But what if Sega brings their exclusive console? So basically, it kind of works like an exclusivity deal. But what if Sega is buying in some interest into one of the companies? So Sega is going to be partnering. So, you know, Sega buys Nintendo. Sega would need a planet-sized bowl of cash to buy Nintendo. But I like where you're thinking. I like the idea of it. But yeah, so that's an interesting concept. What if Sega is announcing some sort of rebirth by purchasing another company, or at least an interest in another company? Or maybe Sega is, you know, maybe that is what Sega could be doing. Sega could be talking about some sort of, it could be a combination of the things. Sega could be talking about some sort of digital storefront that they're going to say, hey, from now on, you come to Sega's website and you buy our Sega games, like Steam and all of that stuff. But Sega signs exclusivity deals with some major companies. That could be an interesting idea. New Sierra games? Sega buys pachinko machines. What if Sega buys Star Fox and makes an original story? Combining Nintendo and Sega into Nintenga. Didn't we have somebody that came in here named Nintenga or Nintega? Retro arcade storefront. Maybe Sega dipping their hand into the movie scene. If Sega is buying any Nintendo IP, it better be Star Fox. That's an interesting idea. That Sega could be purchasing a share in something else and partnering with somebody, rather than just Sega being bought by somebody or Sega doing their own thing. They could be teaming up with somebody. Dude, Sega Channel for Windows? It doesn't. It's one of those ideas that sounds insane, right? We've got Steam. You've got the Epic Games storefront. You've got GOG, which I don't know if GOG is still around. I didn't even know what the hell it was. You've got all these digital storefronts. Or what's the Game Pass? Game Pass is probably one of the most popular ones besides Steam. So it would sound stupid to say, oh well, Sega's going to start their own service, their own game service. But then you think about it, and it's like, they've got the name. The name is what you're buying. You know, when we talked earlier about the idea of Sony or Nintendo buying Sega, they probably don't need Sega's assets. What they could use is Sega's name. Now you get a chance to say, we have Sega. Remember Sega? They were as good as Nintendo back in the old days. Well, we got them. Sega being relatively strong with arcade-style games could potentially do a good job with Star Fox. That would be interesting. A sit-down Star Fox arcade? That's not bad. That's not bad.
Your ideas are intriguing to me, and I wish to subscribe to your newsletter.
We the Ones 23, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome. You damn right, We the Ones. We them bullies, right? Is that what the hip kids were saying? The most underwhelming announcement would be an announcement of a game streaming service that is completely unnecessary, considering they could make partnerships and streaming services such as PSN or Game Pass. Yeah, Sanda, I almost keep calling you Sardonyx, so I apologize. That would probably be the most boo-worthy announcement, would be that they're doing a games streaming service. God, could you imagine if they were going to use their resources to team up with Google Stadia? Oh my God. They could call it the Google Sega. What? Sega. I don't know. Just talking out of my ass at that point. That would be the Sagaga. Oh my. Sagagia. There we go. Do you think that game-changing news could just be hype talk? No, John Pancho. Something about the translation here for this article, something tells me that it is actually going to be interesting. It's the Sega Stadia. I don't know, Sega Stadia. I mean, let's face it. Stadia is dead, right? It would be in Google's best interest to sell Stadia to another company. That's the only way they're going to make some money off of it at this point. Yeah, I mean, Google has money to spend. Google does have money to spend. Following my 15-minute break, what's the subject? The potential announcement from Sega. The announcement is they successfully revived Sagata Sanshiro, and he is going to terrorize all of Japan. Ryan, there's that scene in The Simpsons where Lennon comes back to life. Like he's like a zombie. He's like, must crush capitalism. That's just him stomping around Japan. Stadia ads are annoying. I haven't even seen one. I haven't seen a Stadia ad in a little while, actually, which is kind of crazy. I mean, we expected it. We it's Stadia. Like it was doomed to fail from the start. They did that to themselves. So yeah. So next week, Sega's announcement. We don't know what it will be. They were talking about John Lennon. No, other Lennon. We don't know what the announcement's going to be. But it's always interesting to speculate, and it's always interesting to wonder. And we get to spend the next week blinding ourselves from what's happening in the world by asking each other, what do we think it is? What do we think it could be? And that's fun. I enjoy that. Just don't get hostile. You know what I mean? Don't say that your idea is stupid, my idea is right. It's just fun to speculate about this stuff, because in the end, we really don't know. If we get a Saturn Mini, it would be perfect. Oh my God. Yeah, Saturn Mini would be nice. I don't think that those are game-changing, that those are games industry shake-up announcements, but I would love to see a Saturn Mini. I would love to see a Dreamcast Mini. I don't think that those are going to happen. If you do a Dreamcast Mini, for the love of God, even with a Saturn Mini, really, for the love of God, put an internet connection on it. Please put an Ethernet connection or a Wi-Fi connection or something. I would rather have you have an Ethernet connection, but I understand that the hardware-wise that becomes more expensive. For the love of God, put something onto the mini system so that we can play. Because I will be very frustrated if we somehow get a Dreamcast Mini that has all of the best fighting games on it and we can't play them online. Yeah, knowing Sega's past announcements, it'll be an announcement of an announcement. I'll be honest, it's not even just Sega that's notorious for that. I mean, we got an announcement that the next week there's going to be an announcement for the PlayStation. You know, so it's like, all right, but that's the announcement. Yeah, we're getting announcement for announcements, and it drives me crazy. I can't stand that. GameStop getting shut down by the government. That already happened. Yeah, it might as well because GameStop. Yeah, that already happened. I was talking about this the other day. I went to the local GameStop because I figured some of the businesses are starting to open. Like, you can't go in, but, you know, especially with the food businesses, you can buy stuff or whatever. So I was wondering if they were open. I forgot that in Pennsylvania their license was revoked, their business license was revoked. So GameStops are all still closed in Pennsylvania. They're not allowed to open. Sega Mini couldn't have online unless it was subscription add-on. Hold on. Looks like we're hiccuping. We're dropping frames. We're dropping frames, people. We're dropping frames. Hold on a second. There we go. Had to pick up my frames. We dropped a few, but we're okay now. We're okay. Looks like we're okay. Yeah. I mean, they already got shut down. We cool. Yeah, less the subscription add-on. Yeah, I don't know. Dragoon, a subscription-based system, like we were talking about, and that's another thing. It could be a combination of the things. It could be a mini console system, like we talked about with the arcade system, or just a mini system. But then they're introducing an online service so that you'll be able to play them. Sega CD Mini and 32X Mini that are an extra charge specifically for the Genesis Mini. That would be terrific. I love it. It would be so silly. We're saying what if the announcement is Reggie becoming a higher up at Sega and leaving GameStop? It'd be interesting. It'd be wild. It'd be a crazy story to hear that the ex-president of Nintendo of America is now working with the enemy. That would actually be kind of cool. Finally a proper Sega and Mario crossover game. That would be kind of cool. That would be kind of interesting. Oh, excuse me. But yeah, so announcement next week. We don't know what it's going to be. But we get to speculate. We get to spend the next week speculating. I like it. I'm going to be honest. I think I hyped myself up too much with that idea of an arcade machine that is in your house and you can download stuff and play online. Okay, so this is, did they say when? June 4th. It's going to be, okay, so it's coming from an article in Famitsu. So basically the announcement's going to drop when the issue of Famitsu drops. So that's when we're going to, so yeah, June 4th, I think it was, is when we'll get everything. I don't know if that's Japan time or not. I think June 4th is still June 4th. So we'll see what happens, but it's fun. I like this kind of stuff. I like being able to speculate and have a good time and, just enjoy it. So the same day as the PS5 thing. Yeah, Elements, that's why people are thinking that it has something to do with Sony because of the timing, but I don't know. I think they're just doing it all at once. Just for dramatic effect. But this is the viewer topic portion of the show. So if you have any questions, Q&A, if you have any topics that you thought came up that you want to bring up, feel free to do so. It's always I like to see what everybody else brings to the table because I'm sure that people have something to discuss that maybe I didn't discuss or didn't think was worth discussing. The PS5 thing this week. So the PS5 thing, what is that, right? Because we're going to get details about the system, I think. It would be nice. It would be nice to have another info dump. Could it be features? Is that what we're going to see? Are we going to finally see a list of what features? We've been talking for a little while about will the PS5 be backwards compatible. Official reveal of the system and first look at real games for it. Let's hold off on real games for it because we tried that with Microsoft and Microsoft showed us a bunch of nonsense. So we're gonna see the real hardware. I don't care too much. I know this is gonna sound strange. I don't care too much about the hardware. I know that it's going to be a powerful system. That's really all I care about, right? I don't really care too much about the specs because I'm not a specs guy. When they released the specs for the Xbox One, for the Series X, I care in the sense that it's interesting. I'm looking for anything interesting, but at the same time, I don't really worry about it too much because I know we're going to get a powerful system. It's not like we're going to get a bunch of stats that are equal to the PS4. We're clearly going to get a better system. What I want to see are the features. I want to see how they're going to handle certain things. I want to make sure that the games I bought on the PlayStation Store, I'm going to be able to re-download on the PS5. I'm curious to see if the PS5 is going to play my PS4 games, my PS3 games, the generations before that. I'm interested if they are going to be compatible. Are they going to be compatible as in I put my disc in and it plays the game? Or is it going to be I put my disc in and it downloads a version of the game? You know, that's really what I'm interested in. I mean, there were still games for it. We just didn't see gameplay. Yeah, we didn't see gameplay for them, but they said we were going to see gameplay for them, so they lied. What was the last backwards compatible PlayStation? PlayStation 3. PlayStation 3 was backwards compatible with the PS1, and then there were the first generation that were compatible also with PS2 games. But the PS4 system, at no point did it have any backwards compatibility out of the box. I really didn't care about it right now. There's too many games. Yeah, and there's too many games to play. Yeah, PS3 for PS1 and early in PS2. I'm just saying those are technically. Oh yeah. They are games that are being played. In that that's how they are at game play. Like that's one of those. That's like the Lionel Hutz moment where it's like, oh, we thought we were going to see gameplay. Oh no, they got that screwed up, and then they separate game and play. Where like you're going to see games. And you're going to be able to play these games. We meant those words separately. You're going to see games and play, but you're not going to see any gameplay. Interested in their cooling solution? That's probably something that I'm more interested in. What if I'm interested in any aspect of the hardware? It's going to be things like cooling. It's going to be the hard drive. I know, but we already got some of that stuff. Didn't we get some of that stuff for PlayStation 5 already? Didn't we get some idea of what the hard drive space was going to be? Or was it all just speculation? Because we don't even have a price yet. We don't even have an actual rock solid price yet. The speculation is between $400 and $500. For $500, I'm not interested unless it's entirely backwards compatible with PS4 games. Same goes for Xbox Series X and Xbox One. Are they doing to try making... What are they? Hold on. Are they going to try making us buy Last of Us 2 and Ghost of Tsushima twice? Probably. How do you feel about 4 episodes? Wait. How do you feel about being 4 episodes away? Oh, for the show. Oh, you're right. Yeah, we're episode 96. Oh, remind me, Shadow. I wanna announce something for the 100th episode. There were like tech investor streams. Oh, that's right. Yeah, it was that stream that was supposed to be like behind closed doors, but they're allowed to say what they heard. Later, Flip. Have a good one. I would try to make sure that I stream absolutely a Silver Lining on next Friday, just because I know you're going to be here. For me, it's how it will affect performance and being able to uncap the frame rate for games like Bloodborne, which give piss poor performance. Yeah, I mean there's features that I'm interested in. That not just features, but aspects of it. I don't really worry too much about the hardware. I don't care too much about frame rate as long as it's a rock solid 60. But I'll be honest, when you do see like 120 frame rate, 120 hertz frames per second, it is different. It does hit a bit different. But I don't care too much as long as the 60 frames is rock solid. 4K is nice, but I don't worry about 4K because I don't have a 4K TV or 4K monitors. So it's interesting. You know, there are certain aspects of it that I want to see. I think the biggest problem is that we don't have any idea. Like if they told us, okay, next week we're going to find all the technical specs, I think then it would be like people were, oh, it could be this, it could be that. Maybe they're going to use this chip. Maybe they're going to use this system. Or if they said, oh, we're going to show you all the games next week, there would be speculation about what it could be. But the fact that we have so little to go on, I feel like makes me think that we could see anything. Yeah, we're going in blind. And I like going in blind. We talk all the time about how we don't get to go in blind anymore. There's always so much information. There's always so many announcements before the announcement that the announcement is boring. You know, like if we got a Nintendo Direct and they said, okay, here's a Nintendo Direct. We don't know what's happening. And then right before the Nintendo Direct, they gave you a list of the games that were going to be in the Direct. It would be boring because we would say, okay, yeah, we're going to see gameplay for some of these games. We're going to get a breakdown of some of these games. But I kind of would have rather have been surprised for some of these games to pop up. Do you think it's out of the realm of I'm getting better at reading incorrect words. Sorry for the call out. Do you think it's out of the realm of possibility that games like The Last of Us 2 and FF7 Remake that were made on the PS4's last days were developed with backwards compatibility on the PS5 in mind? Like they already have inherent boosts like textures or performance that can only be unlocked on PS5. It's possible. Yeah, Minion, I'll give you an example of what you're talking about. Let me know if this is correct or not. You're talking about how some Game Boy games were designed with a very simple color palette because there was the expectation that you might want to use the Super Game Boy to play them. On a regular Game Boy, you're never going to see any aspect of that. But on a Super Game Boy or a Game Boy Color, which came later, then you started to get, we had programmed that into the game, and only now people are seeing it. It's kind of like that, where there are performance enhancements that will only work on the PS5, knowing that it was going to be backwards compatible. It's an interesting idea. I'd like to see it. I think that the PS5 with PS4 backwards compatibility would help sell a lot of systems. Price announcement, yay or nay? I think there will be a price announcement. I think that we will get a price announcement. I don't know what it's going to be. It's going to be somewhere between $400 and $500, but I do absolutely expect a price announcement. Follow-up question: how do you feel about that approach as opposed to the same game coming out on both PS4? I don't like it. Unless you're talking about an incredibly enhanced version. I don't see the jump from PS4 to PS5 being so significant. The most significant jump we ever saw was PS1 to PS2, with Nintendo to Super Nintendo, the NES to the Super NES coming right behind it. I think that the biggest jump we ever saw in graphics and performance and everything was the PS1 to the PS2. Any games you're expecting? No. Not that I'm expecting. That's a lie. Okay, that's a lie. Because there is one. There is one that I have actually said for a little while that I expect to be cross-platform. The one game that I would expect them to absolutely show during this presentation is a PS5 running either a PS5 version or the PS4 version enhanced of Ghost of Tsushima. I honestly believe that game is too big for them to only be putting on what is going to become their last gen system. I honestly think that it is also exactly Elements. It is the best way for them to say, this is what a PS4 Pro looks like. This is how much better a PS5 is going to look like. You're going to run the same exact game. You're going to show faster loading speeds. You're going to show enhanced graphics, enhanced textures, maybe even enhanced AI. I think that Ghost of a PS5 version of Ghost of Tsushima is going to be shown. Absolutely. I'm probably absolutely wrong, but I do think that's what they're going to do. If the PS5 is backwards compatible, then what difference does it really make? Enhance things, and just accessibility. As a streamer, and I think any streamer, anyone here who does any kind of content creation, all of you streamers out there, all of you YouTube content creators out there, anybody who does anything like that, I think all of us would agree that having a PS5 on station for your stream or your YouTube setup that plays PlayStation 1 through 5 games would be remarkable. I'd probably buy one just for the setup. I would never put it on the TV. It would always be on my stream setup. Last gen. Well, when the PS5 comes out, the PS4 technically will be a last gen system, or will immediately become a last gen system. Like imagine they made Breath of the Wild for only the Wii U. You know, it's one of those things where they're not going to make Ghost of Tsushima one of the games that has some of the most attention being drawn onto it and the biggest expectations. There's no way they're going to make it just a PS4 game when their new PS5 system is coming out. So they're going to end up making a PS5 version of the game, or the PS5 plays PS4 games enhanced, and that's what we're going to see. My comment was specifically about PS4, PS5 versions of games, making people choose which one. Oh, yeah. I thought you just meant the idea of re-releasing like PS3 games on the PS4 as whole new games. As long as they're enhanced and stuff, I'm okay with that. I think that's probably the biggest issue, Ryan. That's actually another point towards that, is that one of your biggest games can't come out at your Ghost of Tsushima can't come out when the PS5 comes out, and then you don't have a PS5 version of the game. It's not feasible for them to do that. We might have to take their word for it on texture enhancements. The PS5 should be built to run PS4 just fine. It absolutely should. PS1 has no excuse. PS2 may be complicated, but the hardware should be at least able to emulate it as well. And if PS3 emulation on PC is showing any promise, the thing about PS3 emulation is that's probably a bigger discussion. But like some of the bigger games on PS3, didn't they come out as PS4 versions? Some of the biggest games on PS2 came out as PS3 and PS4 versions. So it'd be interesting to see if they focus on that. Imagine the load time difference. Looking at you, GTA 5. Yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting possibility. It's an interesting concept. Yeah, I guess I should have talked about the PS5. But yeah, so it's just a matter of what we're going to see, and we don't know. And I love that. I love being able to speculate. It's so much fun. Anyone know if the Xbox One is region free? I don't know, actually. That's a good question. It seems like it would be weird. Would you just sell them in PS5 boxes with PS4 compatibility? Or if the version just boosted, why even have a PS5 physical copy? They might not. That's what I'm saying. If the PS5 plays PS4 games at an enhanced resolution and load time, they don't have to release them as PS5 exclusives. It seems like it would be weird. Another issue I could see would be the small 6-axis issue. Yeah, that's sort of, well, these controllers, these have motion in them, right? I think it's not even these controllers. It's a PS4 controller. The PS5 controller might have something in there that can emulate 6-axis compatibility. Well, the 6-axis games, they didn't require 6-axis, right? They just made use of the functionality. That's the only difference, is that they didn't, it wasn't 6-axis or nothing. It was 6-axis just is a different experience. DualShock 1 had other accessory ports. Didn't most developers say that the PS3 architecture was like spaghetti, and the fact that it was messy? Okay, that's an issue. Yeah, but yeah, the 6-axis thing, and then even then, elements you could easily, for the most popular ones, the ones that people would throw a fit, like Gran Turismo. You know, Gran Turismo, you could say, oh, well, you could play the PS3 Gran Turismo on PS5, but you don't have 6-axis control. But they're going to make a new Gran Turismo for the PlayStation anyway. They better. Oh, my God. You can't have a PlayStation without Gran Turismo. I don't think... There hasn't been a... What about PS4, actually? Has there been a Sony system out of the 4 Sony systems? Actually, all of the handhelds also. There hasn't been a Sony system that didn't have a Gran Turismo on it, right? But then how do you get new sales? You have to really push that this PS4 game is great on the PS5, or would you re-release the game with new packaging explaining the boost? These systems are going to exist. They're going to coexist. So your smartest bet would be to release it on PS4, say that it's enhanced on PS5, and give people the opportunity to easily move into the PS5. It's definitely safer than saying you have to buy the PS5 and you have to buy the PS5 version of all of these games. That's it. Because people won't do it at first. They're not going to want to give up their PS4s for a system that is expensive, that you're going to have to rebuy all of your games. They're not going to do it. And the fact that and a lot of people, when I say that they're not going to do it, a lot of people say that I wouldn't do it anyway, but you're collectors. There's a lot of people out there that aren't collectors. There's a lot of people out there that traded in their PS3 when their PS4 came out, and they're looking to trade in their PS4 when PS5 comes out. Sony also outright said that they're not going the Xbox route and making all games be on both for the first year. PS5 games will be PS5, PS4. Okay, so they're going to sell these side by side for a little while. They're definitely going to develop these games side by side. The Vita didn't have a Gran Turismo, so the Vita did not have a Gran Turismo. Vita did not have a GT, and 7 is in development, but who knows when we'll see it. That'd be great. That's Gran Turismo. While it may not be for a lot of us, I think Gran Turismo is a system seller. I think Gran Turismo, especially if you're talking about the PlayStation 5 with updated everything, with more powerful everything, and with with a rock solid online connectivity, I think that the Gran Turismo is a game that people will say, I am going to buy the PS5 and I'm going to buy Gran Turismo, and that's the end of that. I think that that's a system seller. Just saying, I remember the whole Wii issue. That was Dragoon. That was a whole separate set of issues. Yeah, a lot of petrol heads and graphic whores out there. GT is a big seller. Absolutely. GT. Yeah, Gran Turismo 6, I think, was the PS4. What's the highest one I have? Yeah, I only have Gran Turismo 4 on the PS2. So Gran Turismo 5 would have been PS3. Gran Turismo... Oh, the only one I remember for PS4 is Gran Turismo Sport. Yeah, so Sport would be different. So probably not a 6. Yeah, numbered Gran Turismos. Can somebody check that number with the last numbered Gran Turismo? Was it 5 or was it 6? One big difference is that Ghost of Tsushima I'm assuming will release for an already popular system. I don't think you're right, Mr. L. The Wii U was not anywhere near as popular. What would be a groundbreaking exclusive that Sony would announce for a long time? Gran Turismo, absolutely Gran Turismo. GTA 6. If you announced. Yeah, Gran Turismo 6 is already a PS3 game. All right, so you'd be talking about Gran Turismo 7. So Gran Turismo 7, GTA 6. I think if you said exclusively to the PlayStation 5, Gran Turismo 6, or Grand Theft Auto 6, I think people would lose their minds. Cream the Rabbit in the hunt with a tier 1 sub. Thank you so much, Cream the Rabbit. Good to see you. Happy 5 months. Can't believe it's been that long. Hope you're having a great day. Having a fantastic time. I think GT is the PlayStation's most selling IP. Speaks for itself, really. It and what it does for car culture, too. Forza has caught up and probably passed it, so it'll be interesting to see 7. Yeah. Forza is a bigger franchise than I think people see, but it's definitely not Gran Turismo. How about a new Crash game? That'd be interesting. A new Crash Bandicoot. I think Crash was always notoriously a Sony game. So, even though it's technically not, but when Crash is synonymous with PlayStation. Yes, there are Crash Bandicoot games on all the systems, but realistically, Crash Bandicoot is synonymous with Sony. Ooh, Ridge Racer, I love Ridge Racer. Ridge Racer was more arcade style, which I absolutely love. Ridge Racer. Best song on the first Ridge Racer soundtrack was Rotterdam Nation. Oh, I think it was called Rotterdam Nation. Such a good song, man. So high energy. So high energy. How about more historical Japanese battles with giant enemy crabs? Didn't that game come out already? GT6 is the most recent numbered game. Yeah, so GT6 was the one that came out. But yeah, I think a Grand Theft Auto 6 would drive people right to the store, and then they can buy Ridge Racer while they're there. I'm a little disappointed in Ridge Racer because Ridge Racer 4, especially Ridge Racer 4's intro, for if anybody has ever seen the intro for Ridge Racer 4, is one of my favorite video game intros of all time. Had a great song, visually looked amazing, and had a very cool, sexy character in it, who was a virtual idol. I would like to see that virtual idol make a comeback. I forget what her name was. Why on earth would Rockstar need an exclusivity deal for GTA 6? I don't think Sony could offer enough for it to be worth it. Well, Mr. L, timed exclusivity. Exclusive for the first year. And then afterwards it comes on everything else. Spider-Man 2. I think, yeah, we can get a Spider-Man 2, absolutely. Thoughts on Xenoblade Chronicles? I haven't played it. It's great to see that it came out. It's nice to see that it's enhanced. It's a fantastic to see everybody enjoying it. I've never played Xenoblade Chronicles. Never. So I might end up picking it up at some point just to give it a try. Granted, I say that, and I've got like 10 other games that I say the same thing for. So yeah, so that's it's we're poised for a wild week next week. We're poised for 2 major events. Horizon Zero Dawn 2 sequel. Yes, I think that would be a system seller. I think people would look at that. How about Sir Sardonyx? How about Horizon Zero Dark or Zero Night? How about something the other way instead of Dawn? Zero Dusk. Horizon Zero Dusk. Oh, I like it. It's pre-3 for real, based for real. Yeah, it really is, Ryan. They were talking before about how we could see like announcements throughout the month of June. This could be kicking off June. In a big way for some announcements. Horizon Zero Dusk. I don't know. I kind of like that. Is that? Hold on. Let me see what it looks like when I type it out. Horizon Zero Dusk. I don't know. That looks kind of cool, man. That looks kind of cool. I'm vibing with that. That really does look cool. Okay. We're going to wrap it up right now. And one of the reasons we're going to wrap it up, not only because it's 7 o'clock, but because I just made the mistake of glancing over at the camera and forgot that I didn't get to do my hair before the show started. So now I'm like super self-conscious. But it's okay. It's all right. It's all right. We get to do this. It's nice and fluffy. There we go. We can hide stuff in there. We'll hide a snack in there later on. If I happen to pull out a Cheeto or something, I'll let you all know. Your hair looks fine. Thank you everybody for stopping in and for hanging out and for enjoying hopefully this discussion of ours. I was worried that we only had one major topic, but we still had a fantastic time talking about it and speculating. I love speculating, dude. When the train pulls in to the speculation station, I am never more happy. I love it. If you're watching this right now and you are a new follower or anything, or a new sub, maybe, I don't know, maybe if you've got a Twitch Prime sub, feel free to go ahead and use it. But please go ahead and click follow. It doesn't cost you anything. It doesn't even cost you $5. But please go ahead and click follow. And if you are so inclined, if you do have a Twitch Prime sub, please go ahead and use that here. Also, check the links down below to follow me over.
Your ideas are intriguing to me, and I wish to subscribe to your newsletter.
Kintora. Thank you so much for the follow. Welcome. Glad you were here. Check the links down below. Follow me over on Twitter. Twitter is where I post all sorts of updates and funny pictures and videos and I don't know, whatever I feel like uploading. It's also where I announce what streams I'm going to be doing when. If you are watching this on, I have buttons that I'm supposed to be hitting and I'm not hitting them. So that's Twitter there. Also, follow over on YouTube. YouTube is where I re-upload this show. Usually in parts, but lately I've been doing it in chunks, in one big chunk. So if you missed anything, if you want to go back and watch some stuff, please go ahead over to YouTube, and if you can, go ahead and click follow or subscribe, whatever it's called over there. We also have a Discord. If you are interested in joining our Discord, feel free to go ahead and follow that link. There's a lot of cool people in there having cool conversations and good times, sharing some fun pictures. So go ahead and do that. If you are watching this on YouTube, also check the links down below. Follow over on Twitter and Twitch, where we stream this show Fridays 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. And we also stream Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Those are gameplay streams. We always have a blast doing those, including Thursdays. Thursdays, we usually do Community Day. So we play Smash Brothers or Mario Kart or Them's Fighting Herds or something like that. We'll figure some stuff out. But thank you, everyone. Before you go, I want to talk to everybody, and I want to tell you to be safe. Be safe. Take care of yourselves. After you have done that, after you are safe and you have taken care of yourselves, be considerate and take care of other people. Watch how your behaviors affect other people, because there is, between this thing and that thing and the other thing, there's a lot of negativity out there, and it is unfortunate. And we are, to steal something from Duncan Trussell, we are cursed by the news. We are cursed by all kinds of media. We're cursed by social media. We are cursed into these negative mindsets because of the flood of information that we get. And there's just so much bad information out there that it is affecting a lot of people that I know. It is affecting me personally, and I'm sure it's affecting a lot of you. So take care of yourselves. Watch what you listen to. Instead, spend this week watching some shows that have nothing to do with what's going on out in the world. Listen to some good music, play some fun video games, of course, and take care of each other, take care of yourselves, and I will see you all next time.